game I'll become good at wacha ikuwe MK period. MK ndio I think naweza huko ndiko nimetusiana. Oh my god guy, mimi naambianga watu, people always say like Call of Duty watu who rage, people always say like FPS games watu who rage. Ingiani MK. I shit you not. Wesley, mimi nimewahi join hata literally nimematch na msee hata hatuja acceptiana, I haven't even accepted the match, haja accept the match, literally tumetoka tu kumachiwa. The first thing umse alisema ni fuck you Lewis. Niko umse ananijua.
You see how you consider your options.
What the fuck? Utaanza kusema ni mbaya na umse like uko umse simjui, I've never met you ever in my life. We just hata hakuna mtu hata amekubali because mkemke ukimatch you like you're going to see the ping, utaona kama unaona ping na something else, and also like the win ratio ya kila mtu hapo, so like it's either you accept ama ukatae also, and pia utaona rank ya mtu, like it's either like you accept or decline and utamacho na another person, so like so mkimacho immediately venye tu tuko sahi hatuja accept bado, like so it's me and you, so umeona jina yangu nini first thing unasema fuck you Lewis, fuck you motherfucker. Niko yo hadi unajua mimi mute, I always mute like my controller cause ya vitu kaa hizo saa zingine like unaweza kuwa unacheza and like hautaki kusikia watu maybe mtu anacheza music or something, so I always mute, but for this one for some parents hizo siko nimemute. So first thing unasema ni fuck you Lewis, niko hapana na mimi nimetoa nini yangu, niko what's wrong with you man, like do you know like do you know each other, I've ever played? Nah man, me I'm like unapata so very well kwa nilijiambia if I'm going to allow myself one toxic game ambayo nimeshindwa kubreak nini yangu cause nimekuwa nikicheza MKX, I didn't play it as much because your time bado sikuwa na console ati yangu, so that one was more of kwenda kwa gaming for gaming lounge play. Yeah, so your time sikuwa ati like you just go casually hapo.
Just hold on a second. James.
Yeah.
How are we? Tuko sawa?
I don't know. I'm hearing on both sides.
You're hearing us on both sides.
Yeah. Wait, but I'm not able to mute.
You're hearing us.
Ni gani Discord ama wapi?
Yeah. I think what I'll do. Actually, on my side, lakini I think let me try and mute you guys on Discord, so that I can hear from the ninja. What's it called?
But na sisi tunatumia Discord.
There we go. I think saiko sawa.
But na sisi tunatumia Discord.
That's weird. There we go. I think saiko sawa. There's like a lag. There's like a lag somewhere. There's like a lag. Somewhere.
James, can you hear me here?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I know you can hear me twice. Let me do this. James.
Yeah.
Can you hear me when I'm here?
On the nini? What's
Hello?
it called? On
VOD.
On VOD, yes.
Okay, so
Yeah. On VOD, yes.
yeah. Let's go to VOD. I'm thinking.
We try VOD, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Let's go to VOD. I'm thinking.
We try VOD, huh? Okay. I see what the issue is. Okay. So, although I can't like join. I can't like join the way you guys can see on stream. I think because of the lag on my end. I think it's something to do with the website, but it's.
Unmute yourself, Lewis, on VOD.
Yeah.
ushamba mingi tumekuwa kwa ma Streamlabs tukaenda Discord, sasa tuko video.
Okay, see now we can hear each other kabisa.
Kuna mtu asikie anything?
Me I can hear.
Because nimecharge mute.
Tena
Moja
very well.
amenyamaza tena.
No. So, Lewis, do this.
Yeah.
Mute yourself, but don't deafen yourself.
Oh, on Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And deafen. Okay. Yeah. Then, but now
And
mute.
then mute. Yeah,
Sawa.
like that. James, now you can hear Lewis, right?
Yeah, perfectly.
He was
So
answer too.
lakini kuna mtu nasikia mara mbili. Wesley, ni
Oh,
wewe?
that's me.
Yeah.
That's me. That should be me.
Na kuna mtu nasikia mara mbili.
Yeah. How's that?
Yeah, na iko sawa. It's perfect.
Yeah. Sawa. James.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready to start, me niko tayari.
Sawa.
Same here.
Let me.
So nilikuwa nakusha always like nimejikubalisha one toxic online game which is MK. I'm decent. I'm not good. I'm decent. That's what I can say because nimecheza for MK11 nimeicheza for a minute. Was especially on PS4. When was it? 2021. I think that was my most played. Like okay, mi uchezanga games zote, but for some reason it's so addictive to like play like those 3-minute matches. Hata kama unacheza na AI or whoever, it's very addictive to restart because it's only like 2-3 minutes match.
I have MK11 on my laptop, and I saw the clinch of the game. So let me actually rope you into a conversation. So in terms of toxicity hapa hivi, me I won't lie. I'm not saying I'm the nicest person online. Me ukinitusi, niko na tolerance. Me niko na tolerance level until niko like
mi urudisha.
Let's see what's going to happen. You know what? Let's see.
Urudisha
as
immediately.
A person who plays, let me tell you, me as a person who plays League and a person who plays Valorant on Bahrain servers. I will tell you for this. Before I started playing League and Valorant, I used to play Brawlhalla, and I was okay. Ukanitusi mimi nacheka I go. Nini? I started playing League and Valorant. Nivo. Downhill. I was like, oh, okay. And I think for me, what happened? So let me give you a story of Brawlhalla. Brawlhalla used to have a chat after every game, right? So unacheza nini kishinda, there's a chat and everything and all that. And then what would happen was someone, you could chat with the person who umetoka game naye, and those chats used to be toxic. So what Blue Mammoth Games did, they disabled the chat and replaced it with emojis. So right now in Brawlhalla, unless you're in one party with somebody, you can't chat with the opponent. Ni kupigana and then you go away. So it was very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's now ready. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I'm seeing.
Great.
Let me see. I want to see it on. Is it live?
Yes. I think we are good. Not unless there are any challenges. Lewis has stepped out kidogo.
Yeah, Lewis has just left kidogo.
Okay.
Lagging on the stream?
I'm lagging.
No, am I? Mimi?
No,
lagging?
You're good. You're actually good. It's okay on the on the VOD area. It's showing you like dropping off and on, but I can still see you.
Oh, I think that's because of I opened the YouTube live and then I opened VOD as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Tuko set? Tuko live?
Yes.
Yeah, we are live.
Awesome.
We're live. Actually, James has just shared the link.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sawa. I think I can do the intro.
Yep.
Welcome everyone to the One Africa Live episode 1. I know we took quite a long time because there were some technical difficulties. But we are here. We finally made it.
Wengine wetu tuibiwe transformer iende speak. Umekaa kwa giza, you're finally here.
But then that's something I think we have to talk about for another day. Your story, power problems in Africa. Aye. That's something we need to visit.
You know, mimi kwangu stima, I remember when was it? Ile times ilipotea that national blackout thing.
Yeah.
Unajua nilikuwa mahali I was getting lit bana. Mimi najua zilizimika. Someone just shouted, "Hey, kwani mmetuwekea kutufungia macho? Kwani mmetuwekea ya kutusukuma zile?" Kwani mmetuwekea ile inapotezanga watu macho. Yani I think I had yani mseli sawa hiyo saa mimi naweza tu kucheka like you can imagine like nilikuwa na get lit vizuri sana. Actually it was a really nice turn up.
Yeah.
Hey, mtu ameyell all of a sudden, hey, umetupatia ile ya kutupoteza macho, umetupatia ile but
it was interesting.
Yeah, it was
really interesting.
Yeah, so my intros, I go by Lewis Gaming. I'm a Lewis Chege, whichever you prefer. James and Wesley, guys I've never met, and we are doing like something awesome for the first time ever. Kukuana podcast ya, what did we call it? We called it give it a very nice title. Was it James or
One
who?
Africa Live.
Yeah, One Africa Live. Yeah, but there's
Play One Africa.
Play One Africa now. That's the whole brand itself.
Yeah, there's a way you described it. You said you want it to be the first. What did you say? You wanted to be the first kwa group. Ulisema I'm trying to look for it. Some very nice. Uliyaka viviti sana. There's something you say. It's either you or Wesley. I don't know who said it. I think ni wewe, James.
I'm trying to recall, but I've forgotten it.
That time, please, Lewis, remember, please. Nilikuwa design nini. There was nothing I could do.
Yeah. I want this to be the first collab cam based podcast in Africa. Yeah, which is really nice, considering kwenye tunatoka in terms of what we want to talk about, and it's games. All of us tumetoka from different backgrounds, and it will be really like interesting to know where everyone's journey started, unajua.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, long story short, been playing games for 23-24 years now. Nilianza late 90s. Na sasa tuko hapa sasa, tuko kwa podcast. Yeah. Hapo ndipo jani imenipeleka. Tulianza na, oh my god. I remember, like, I actually even had this conversation before with James a while back. Nikamwambia nilianza na that, it was called the Bruce Lee handheld Tiger device. You can actually Google it. Yeah. It was either
OG
Wolverine.
Device, what?
That's an OG device, and that was from my hiyo nilikuwa nimeitoa kwa my bro, and I remember nikicheza niko yes, hii niko sawa, na feeling niko hii ni kitu itanifurahisha. And then from there I remember, oh my god, nikianza kuambia hii story yote, nikaenda brick game. I went to the brick game. Then from brick game, like for the first time ever I saw a Nintendo console. Like I always describe it, and that was from my cousin's place, and I always say that at least niliweza kucheza Mario as God intends on a Nintendo console, on an original Nintendo console.
I'm going to quote you there. Lewis, I will quote you there. Playing Mario as God intended.
On a Nintendo console.
James, that should be the tagline for the live. Playing Mario as God intended.
As God intended on the actual device it was made to, because the amount of bootleg consoles nimecheza Mario on, like the time in the two console, if you can remember the one that had the gun and everything.
Yes.
The black one. It used to be called Terminator. Yeah, it used to like have like the power and the reset button and like the yellow cartridges. Yeah. Guys, I remember actually having this conversation na wasee kwa group ya code community, and guys saying walikuwa nanunua hiyo kitu wakitoka sijui shule, high school, sijui primary, sijui wamenunuliwa sijui na hawker, and those things will be sold by hawkers.
Yes.
And I remember like nilikuwa nimeweza kuzicheza so because it was so cheap. Zilikuwa, I don't know, like maybe 1,500 ama 1,000. I don't know. They're just that cheap consoles. And mimi kitu moja sitakataa, I was a very curious kid, so hata zikiharibika natajiblame because hata mimi kuna vitu nilikuwa nafanya hizo ma consoles tu najipata tu nimeharibu tu sijui nikifanya nini. Yeah, so ukarabati
Your game devs started at a very young age.
yeah, so from that sana nikaenda from hizo mabootlegs mingi nikacheza, and then I just happened to stumble on the PlayStation 1. From there onwards imekuwa tu PS. So 1 2 3 4 5, then of course sasa kucheza on laptop PC whatever, but yeah, I would say most of my experience na games ambazo naweza kumbuka vizuri nikicheza, nilianza kucheza PS1 2003. Yeah, so from there onwards imekuwa tu hivyo, like PS2, PS3, PS4, now PS5 now. Yeah, so that's my long short story about gaming. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, if I can do a small intro about me. My name is Wesley, or Kanyeria Sama, or Kanyeria for those, whichever title you prefer. I think I'm the youngest in this podcast. Mimi ndio mtoto wa podcast.
Kabisa.
We have an MIA member of ours called Jan, but maybe my gaming started from I think 2000.
Yeah.
2000 hapo.
Yeah.
And I remember the first device tulikuwa sisi wote huddled in one room tukicheza ni brick game. Na ilikuwa ile ka Tetris. The Tetris. The Tetris was in black and white.
Yeah.
And I remember tulikuwa tunasema ukibant ni hivyo pitisha. Tulikuwa na msee moja akibant amezua na wezi mpiga na wezi zua. Akibant ni hivyo. Yeye kishashika brick game hivi. We hivyo ndio itabidi tumetoka nje tucheze futa. But yeah, I remember that's where I started my gaming, and I remember a neighbor of mine called Ian who we used to go to his place. We played on this cartridge. I don't know what cartridge it was, but there was Prince of Persia, there was Mario where God did not intend.
God did not intend to cheza kwa hiyo console.
There was Prince of Persia, there was Mario, there was another racing game and everything else. Na jongeza ile cartridge ilikuwa na blow. Nasema don't blow. But ukiblow inafanya kazi, so usas. Hiyo kitu ilikuwa sasa sana. Yeah. And then there was when we used to live in Pangani and everything else, we had different people who were different. Kulikuwa na msee akona PS. Starting from PS1, but before that those guys were brick game, kulikuwa na Game Boy. I never had the pleasure of seeing a Nintendo. But that's what I'm saying. The first official proper console I saw and was like, hii imetoka majuu, was the PlayStation 1. But for me, my interest in gaming is actually unique kwa sababu, yes, I was always interested in playing a game. You're 100%. But yangu came when I started asking, how does this game work? And I think Lewis amesema ukarabati ya kufungwa nini. So I remember the time, I don't know if it was a brick game or a Game Boy, one of the two devices I got. Mimi nikaa chini nikaangalia hivi, nikona uncle yangu akona set ya screwdriver ya kutengeneza gari, si ndio? Na nikona hii brick game na ikona hii screws behind it. Si tuangalie hii screen na kanga aje ndani, tuone tu kusema ukweli. What goes on behind the scenes?
I know. Yeah.
So I decided to sit down and unscrew it and look, and I was like, it's just a bunch of wires. I was like, let me screw it back. It refused to start. Uongo gani tutaspew. So the sound was nini, but the screen was blank. So me, I just left it there on the dining table. My mom comes and asks me, Wesley, mbona uchezi kitu yako? Imekataa kufanya kazi. Sijui kama battery imeisha. And that's how I forgot that story. But yeah, so from that, I think, and then interesting thing, my first device was actually a laptop. I got around 2017. And before that, I was always interested in not just gaming, but the news behind gaming. Like, not even just game dev, like, hii company nafanya nini, hii nafanya nini. Like, it never, for me, it's not in Kenya, where all of us are from Kenya. In Kenya, FIFA is a prominent game.
Yeah,
but
it is.
ukiangalia EA wako na this game called what's this game, this interesting game called Dragon Age. So mi siku moja nikakaa down nikajiuliza Dragon Age nafuta inaingiana aje? And that's why I think where to be honest I started asking questions about different companies and everything else. Juu unaona futa company inaitwa EA ndio, but unaona sasa pia kuna vita hapa hii side nyingine. You're like, we kwani amtengeneza
how is this happening? Yeah.
So how is this happening?
Yeah.
So I think that's where my interest in everything outside of gaming and esports and everything else came up, because I wanted to know, other than just playing a game, what is there to gaming? And yeah, that's like let's put a long shot intro to me.
Moje. Yeah, that's awesome. Moje. Nataka kusikia yako. Moje. Moje nangoja tu response. Hapana, hapa tunaongea vitu vingi. Lazima watu watujue.
Mine is long. Acha
long story. Tumesema ni long short story.
Long short story.
Tunachapa.
Long short story.
Okay. Now, mine started, I think, in the 90s pia. I don't know if it was 94, 95 huko, somewhere there. There's I think the console that you've mentioned, the Tiger, that Tiger thing.
Tiger handheld. The Tiger handheld device. Yeah.
Oh my word. I think there was this one specifically for X-Men that I had seen.
Yeah.
The first time I saw that thing, my mind exploded. I was like, I think this is where my destiny is. So I think I borrowed it from a friend, played it days on end. Then after that, I think before that, I think just a few weeks or months before that, I had tried the one for Tetris, the brick game. I think which is the most popular one I think I've ever seen. So I literally got to convince my mom to buy that for me. Unajua ile when you told that, hey, ukipita mtihani ndo nitanunua. So like, hey, you work so hard. Pass that exam. Now you know they have your brick game waiting. So I think that's when now this whole world of gaming was opened up for me. After that, I think it was around 1999 when there's this shop on Mombasa Road. I don't know if you guys know it. It's called MPPS. Those guys.
MPPS.
Yeah. I don't know if they were the first.
Do I remember it?
It's a shop owned by Windies.
Of course, gaming kila mtu. Yeah. Gaming zote za Wahindi. Gaming kila mtu alikuwa amebuy something from Hindi. Hakuna mtu kwanza hizo za kitambo. Amebuy kitu kutoka kwa
So me my Terminator, I got it from there. So
ni hapo. Mhindi hata mimi Terminator ilitoka kwa Mhindi. Hata ilikuwa inatoka.
Those guys had connections for days.
Those guys had connections bana. Wahindi ndio walikuwa
Many of us gamers in Kenya owe our gaming interest for that to a certain Mwindi in a certain corner with us.
So that after that, I got inside the console you find these games 1,000 in one, 10,000 in one. There's so many games inside that console. So I ended up playing it. I think Super Mario was one of them. And actually, that's where my love for Mortal Kombat came from. Because there's another cartridge I got. It had MK inside it. Then that's when I started exploring. What's MK? What's Nini? I think my love for games now started from the FGC genre. Because I started from MK, then I entered Tekken. Then after that, now that's when I started exploring all these other games. I think from there.
Interesting.
Yeah. But weird thing, I never had a PS in as much as I wanted one. I ended up buying myself one, I think the other day. It was a PS4. And I was there waiting for guys to play with, and then uko like, hakuna watu wakucheza na wao. I was so bored.
Yeah.
Ukauza.
Unajua story inaenda mpaka
this is where this story was going.
Unauza PS. Unajua sasa There's no apana.
Now wait. I think our viewers need to understand that the only person in this entire podcast that actually has a PS currently is Lewis.
Is Lewis.
The two of us, the two of us are console people. So this is just the two of us are PC people. So
Yeah.
this is just PC versus console. The master.
Hiyo nakuwa nimekubali. In terms of kama if you're going that route, yeah, PC is like king, but hey boss, lazima tutetee console ambayo nimekuwa nayo. Lazima tunakuanga hapo if actually there's penda mse community decided about the Bazenga and another guy called Lee. These guys are always arguing back and forth.
Yeah. I mean that group
story. Yeah, tunakuwa tumeletana juu sana, but we always have some mutual respect for games, especially kama ni kitu next gen.
Yeah.
Which I know you're going to talk about in terms of Starfield we're going to talk about like your game.
Yes.
But I understand your competition kwenye you utoka, and as I said, this is a very good like platform for me to like argue niseme hey, mimi ni mtu wa PS na nini, but in other aspects siwezi. In another line of work like siwezi, but if it's casually and having fun with it, I'll always be of course biased. Wenye tu nimewambia cause nimecheza hii kitu from like PS1 PS2 nimeget na ni mtu alifanya ni realize I had actually even like haiko imenihit when say like you've gone through all generations of PlayStation and okay then clearly kuna kitu about PS umependa unajua. Yeah, so
you are what we call Sony's target market. Wewe
sisi ndio tunatafutwa.
Ukionwa consumer of the month hapo Sony headquarters Lewis Chege vizuri sana imekuja wa Kenya itisha
kweli nitaongea na wao.
For me, I have a question for James before we move into the first discussion of the day. While we're still talking about intros, I want to know where James's interest in esports ilianzia wapi, like the first inception, because I think it's also important to know. Because of all the people on this podcast, James is the one who's most versed in terms of esports and everything else. We want to know where the origin came from. Ni kuchapo MK lichapo akasema itabidi ni control this scene ama where did it come from?
You've thrown me back. I don't know if you guys remember, there was this time when Energizer and Homeboys hosted this tournament called the Energizer PlayStation Challenge. That's where all of it started. Everything.
Energizer. I think nakumbuka kitu kaa hiyo.
Bas.
I remember what year was it?
It was they started in the year 2000, 2001, 2002, and then that's when they stopped. Yeah.
Cause I remember that was when PS1s hit a boom in Kenyan markets.
Yes.
Ilikuwa your type. Ilikuwa your type.
And then Energize and Homeboys decided to do a thing. And I remember that very clearly, number one, for two things. I remember it clearly because when we used to go to Sarit Center, which was the only mall in Kenya at that time, everyone wanted a PS1.
Yeah.
And then when you listen to Homeboys radio, kulikuwa na kitu Energize na PS, and that's why people started hearing wanasema kuna kitu na kitu you need to get. But yeah, sorry James, could you continue?
Yes. Now at the time, that competition was so huge, and then those guys had good marketing. They had really good marketing, because the time they know their target market. They know it's the kids who are, the young ones to around age 15, and then there's some who are also 15 and over. Wale wamekaribia 18. They know these guys wakifunga shule either April, August, December, there's a competition happening. So unapata April kuna competition Energizer, August kuna competition, December kuna competition. So like almost everyone, I think within our ninis knew about it. Unapata people from hizi shule za kina Makini all the way to St. Mary's, Hillcrest, Strathmore, everybody knows about it. So when you go there, unapatana na the you guy my guy people. Hey, that place was packed with them. And then you find those guys are the ones who are the most skilled. Au ni watu wame practice. So ukienda tu hapo unaenda tu hapo kutandikwa. So the most of us who never had access to those games, tulikuwa tunaenda hapo tu kunini kuwa punching bag. Unatandikwa unatoka. Unatandikwa unatoka.
It's what we call free elo these days. When you're free elo, sasa.
So that's essentially what now marked my entrance into competitions. By that time, I was still very young. That's the time now where you are entering puberty. So unatandikwa hapo, your ego is hit so hard. So after that, you start meeting these guys. You create a community after that. I think from there now, that time, that's when now you start hearing of these two competitions being held now by the smaller communities. There was also this guy called Nathan Masiuko. He used to hold an event called Next Gen Gaming.
Yes, I was trying to remember why that name is so familiar.
Bas. And literally, if you talk about esports, like that guy is the godfather of esports in this country. He did. The guy did so many competitions.
He did so much work, yeah.
He busted his pockets. You know, that guy has done everything. And even when Nathan Masiuko.
Nathan.
Yeah. And
okay.
You find he also was into game dev, so he was pairing the two both. He was doing esports and game dev stuff here on the side, but he was in both communities. He was presently there.
Hata nimempata actually. Okay, interesting. Yeah.
So you find from there, that's when now I wanted to host like an online tournament around 2017. There were some guys who are there's a community for guys in Kenya who are really enthusiastic about Rainbow Six. I didn't know anything about that game. So at the time, the community pushed me. Hey, we need a competition. So they pushed me. It went to the point where now I decided, okay, let me just try hosting the competitions. And the interesting part is that, you see, this YouTube channel where now we are live streaming this content.
Yeah.
This is actually where I used to live stream the Rainbow Six tournaments from.
Nimepitia channel yako naijua.
Yes.
Nimepitia channel yako naijua. Nimepitia channel yako nimeona.
And it was like a breakthrough event because I invited guys from all over Africa. South Africa, Kenya, Zambia, Tunisia, Ghana, Nigeria, everywhere. So literally, I was like, I want to connect all the communities together. And that's what now brought out my passion for Africa. I was like, I really need Africa to have a presence within the gaming space every time we have this conversation. And even until today, that's still my passion. So
nice.
All the way from esports to now even having this conversation with you guys is where now it stands. That's where now James Karanu
James Karanu is present. Hapo sawa. Interesting.
So let it be known, it was in fact kuchapwa kwa magames that led him to this position. Let it be known. It may not be NK, but it's kwa magames.
Kuchapwa Royal.
I think right now, our audience now knows us well and our very unique characters.
Unique characters, for
but
sure.
the very interesting thing is that we've been able to cover the broad aspects of or the broad departments of gaming, because we have James Karanu here who comes from the professional side, very extreme professional sides of esports. There's me who comes partly professional, partly casual esports. I mean, casual gaming. And then we have Lewis coming in, casual gaming as well as game development. So it's a proper covering. We just need lawyer moja, one lawyer,
tunahitaji
and
tu
we
lawyer
are
tu
good to go
mmoja
in
hapa.
terms of
Lawyer tu mmoja
the
hapa.
legal side of gaming. Lawyer,
For- for-
one lawyer, legal side of gaming. is good.
we are good.
So
For me,
with that moving forward.
yeah. For
Mhm,
me,
Joyce, you say?
for me, I would say for really what maybe was a mistake. Yes, I do come from like the game dev world, but I'm not a dev myself. I just help games through social media and community outreach. The devs, I do work with devs for that, but myself, let me say dev. Your cousin, it's not joke. I've seen games coming from just like a concept, like a piece of paper. Someone drew something, and kitu amekuwa tu akifikiria for the longest time, sometimes even subconsciously, ako zile za if I ever make a game ingekuwa kitu kaa hii. And funny enough, even the devs that I work with, if you listen to the actual stories, wako zile za I never knew like I would go into game development that way, up until I just decided tu siku moja, you know what, this is something imekuwa nikifikiria, mbona nisijaribu, unajua. So that's how like people start. Of course, there are guys who always know they want to go into game development, and kudos to that, because kitu moja I always say and I always appreciate, the effort it takes, and it's something tulikuwa tumeongea hata before we started live streaming and everything. The effort it takes for a game to come from that concept to get to your screen for you to play, a whole lot of things may happen in the background, in the back end. So for me, I just wanted to have like that clarification, because even when I shared the Super Adventure Hunt trailer, people thought like mimi ni part of the development team. No, I'm not a dev at all. Hiyo iko na wenyewe, hiyo nimeachia wenyewe. For me, it's just come here, talk about like my work in terms of also like understanding how social media na pia venye gaming you work and how to leverage social media as well. Just doing community outreach, kujaribu kuambia watu, hey, there's this game, najua unachezanga hii game, but do you want to diversify your portfolio? And for most people, they want to do that, it's just that they don't know where to start. So if I can be that point man and just say, hey, I have this game that I'm involved with, and I think it's a good place to start. At least pia personalize that game in a sense that at least mtu ameniapproach akaniambia, okay, this is a game he is actually working on. And yeah, that's basically what I do. Yeah.
For me, and coming from the esports direction and game activation scene, where you're involved in not just directing esports tournaments, but which is something we even talked to James earlier, that the esports ecosystem, people think is just the tournaments. No, there is marketing, there is the financial aspect, there is the legal aspect, there is the
PR, public relations as well.
brand engagement aspect, PR. Wow, Jesus Christ, I hate PR aspect.
Kuna mtu anataka hata mimi PR, hapana. PR, there's someone who does like for work, kuna mtu ako PR, kuna mtu ako on the PR.
Oh, wow. Yeah, but all these aspects, especially coming to as esports director or rather as a consultant esports director, where you're told this is an activation you want to do, or this is a tournament you want to run, because someone's eyes for what we call for the consumer, because even gamers, we call them gamers, yes, but at the end of the day, you're still a consumer. For the consumer being brought this product, which is a tournament, for you to participate in, we have to factor in so many moving parts. You have to think not like as a passion, but as a company, as a business, as a business person. This consumer is engaging with this brand in this manner as a tournament. He's engaging with, for example, currently at AfriGamer, there's the ASUS tournament going on. So as a consumer, at Afrigamer, these guys have to factor in these different things of, okay, so this is happening. How are my fans engaging with the ASUS brand? How are my fans engaging with Afrigamer? How are not my fans, the consumers engaging with this brand? What's the turnover of these people? Is this profitable? Is this sustainable? Is this all these things? And those are things you have to
Yeah,
consider
for sure.
even before you start
Mhm,
pitching these things
mhm,
to the brands that come in. So, and we even talking, I think we talked about this with James a while back, where they're different. What especially where we encourage is even when it comes to game development, is having ways for us to pass out this knowledge to people. That yes, you're passionate about esports, yes, you're passionate about gaming, but don't think of it just as a passion. Think of it as ni kampani yako, unahitaji watu wa kufanya kitu gani. Like you've just said, you're not a game developer, but you connect people. You're
Yeah,
part
it is.
of, I
It
think
is.
it's
It is.
marketing.
It is.
It
It is.
sounds like the
Yeah.
marketing aspect. Your and marketing is such an important part because it's how you package the product, regardless of whether it's a shoe, a drink, or a game.
Yeah.
It's very important how you market it. And the same thing applies to esports. It's very important how you learn how you're going to market the package of esports towards the brand or the consumer you want to engage with. So yeah, and I think that's also what I'm here to not
Yeah.
just teach, but also learn from peers like
Yeah.
James and yourself, and we see how we can
sure.
move forward with it. James.
Yes. Now, I think we can jump onto the subjects at hand today.
Yeah.
The first one I wanted to talk about was the Valorant servers, the ones that just dropped in South Africa. I think if you've seen the what do you call it? I'm forgetting the name of this thing. Riot Games was working with this South African establishment called Carry Fast. Carry Fast is
Yeah. Yeah.
very well
I know
known.
them.
So
Publishing company. It's a publishing company. Yeah.
yes, they decided
Yeah,
to
those guys.
drop
Yes.
what you call the South African servers just recently, and
Oh.
it's okay for the South African community. It that was big news for them. This is the servers they have been waiting for, and especially noticing like how many people play Valorant. I don't know if you've seen the statistics. The last time I saw, I checked from some other website over there. I'll try and recall the link. It was saying that there are almost globally almost 7 million people who play concurrently.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wow.
that it's huge. So you can even tell like bring servers to people now here locally. Guys were excited to have the servers dropped, but then it didn't. It came with its challenges because I
I
think they were
played on SA servers.
really.
Me personally, I played.
How was the
Yes, I have.
experience?
Diko na first-hand account. Oh my lord. Oh my lord.
Also.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to hear it from you, by the way, because even me, I think I have the same sentiments as well.
so let me start with the broad aspect of it. First things first, it sets a good precedent. As Valorant is the second game I play that has South African servers, the other one being Brawlhalla that has servers in Southern Africa. I don't know if it's exactly in Cape Town or Joburg, but one of the two. The precedent is that Africa should be a place where we have servers, not just Northern Africa sides of Morocco and Egypt and stuff like that. No, but Southern Africa and stuff like that. So it sets a good precedence, yes. But then the challenges it brings is realizing we as Kenyans are closer to certain places than we are to South Africa. So, for example, Kenya is closer to Bahrain than it is to Cape Town, where the servers are. And you obviously as we had about the servers, me and my squad, group of guys, friends of mine, Carlson, whatever, we had about the servers. A friend of mine called Jaffred, we jumped on, right? And we were like, let's see. And so normally on Bahrain servers, we'd get on good days 65, 66, maximum 19, 70, 80, 90 ping there. On bad days, obviously, they go all the way to 120 and whatever. But you usually play the mean is between 69 to 75, right?
Yeah.
So on Bahrain servers. So we jump on South African servers. The first thing that hits us, 89 ping. We sat down, we looked at each other, tukasema, okay. You know what? Maybe it's more stable. Maybe it's more stable. Let's go. Play the first few games we met South Africa. I mean, we talked earlier with you, Lewis,
Mm.
and Bahrain to have with
Yeah,
us.
watu watakuwa online watu watakuwa na vitu zao online watu watakuwa stories.
Wow, someone mtu amekuletea kazi stress yake yote ya si wiki month nzima online ni wewe ni wewe ni wewe. But yes, so for South African servers, it was really interesting to find, because you can tell this is a South African person. I was playing a game and someone said, "My brother in Christ to smoke." I knew this is a black South African man. This is a black South African man. There's no one else who will say my brother in Christ. No one else. This is a black South African man. But yes, it's a good precedence. However, it also brings up the issue of connectivity being further, lag times going up and down. Um, it's not necessarily as stable as we had hoped, but we have held out.
Yeah.
I think the best engagements that are currently going on is that we were we're glad that this region is being noticed in terms of Valorant play, because we do have an active Valorant community here. Guys are engaged, but as the days go by, or not the days, rather the months,
Yeah.
weeks, whatever, as they go by, we are hoping that ziletwe karibu tu Kenya tu kiasi.
Yes.
You know, mimi nimeshutiwa na mtu ako na 9 ping. It's not fair. My ping is 89, uko na 9. 80 less ping. What are you I can't pick you properly.
Yeah.
Una pick advantage. Am I you? But yes, so that's basically my experience on the Valorant servers. But what I do like is the community that has been around it, more than anything. So yeah.
For me, I know sichezangi Valorant, but I have like a fun fact about it. I interviewed the voice actor behind Astra.
I saw your interview.
Yeah.
I knew you from
Yeah.
somewhere. I
Yeah.
read your interview.
Yeah.
I shared it. I saw
Yeah.
it. I knew it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. A very nice lady known as Effin Kruma. Oh my god. I think for her as well, she's not like a gamer, but she partnered with, I think you've heard about Letty Arts.
Yes.
A guy called Tawia. And that's how you know, as you have said, Wesley, gaming is becoming big. And the fact that we are able to attract that kind of attention, whereby we even having legit voice actors from Africa voicing characters that, have that, they want to put it as an African origin, but you can tell this is a black woman voicing, all this great stuff. And getting an authentic voice to to be behind Astra, I think for me that was one of those things where I was like, hey, this is nice. Like I've also like wanted to understand what goes behind voice acting and everything, and just seeing it happen, and also being able to interview Effie, that was like a huge deal. And
I love. Let me just say this right now.
Yeah.
My best voiced character, not my best character.
Yeah.
Let me just be clear.
Yeah.
But my best voiced character
Yeah.
is Astra.
Yeah.
Her lines are so
Really?
African,
Yeah.
so Ghanaian.
Yeah,
You
that's
would
what
love them.
exactly.
Oh my Lord. I call you Chale because you're a friend, but I call you Fulo.
Yeah. So
Very interesting.
the person was, yeah. So, and it's always amazing because for me and Effie, like we don't play like Valorant, but the conversations I've had from people who saw the interview, including you as well, James, all those other people who are like, hey, this is amazing that you're able at least to have this conversation and just talk about what happens also behind the scenes, because I had lots of questions even outside Valorant, and I wanted to understand as well because I've played games before, just to understand how voice acting works, You have a voice director, you have a voice coach who is with you there telling you how to say these lines. And of course, you're not just a tool, you also want to have your personality in that character as well. So it's finding that fine line between the direction that you're being given, and also your personality as well. So talking to Effie and understanding how the whole process came to be, yeah, it was an amazing interview. Yeah, I just wanted to share it out there for at least people who want to, and we'll plug in GIA, and for people who also want to talk about and see
We
what.
also plug in the interview, I think.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah,
For
yeah,
guys,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's
for
what
guys
is it?
to
Yeah,
go
it's
there.
a transcript. It's a transcript. I don't have the video. I just do the transcript and just publish it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
So it's
mm-hmm,
it's something interesting for anyone who wants also to understand how gaming and voice acting works, and how you get recruited, how
mm-hmm,
you get to be in this position where you can um, talk about and also voice this character. Because the conversation I had with Effie, like that was she like it. She knew like this was different because she had done like radio plays, and because they're really big in Ghana. So for her,
mm,
it was like you do have an idea of what you need to do, but gaming is different. Gaming as an industry, it is different. You can be like from all other places, the movie industry, the film industry, the music industry, but once you get into the gaming industry, yes, it's an art, but it's a very different art from maybe what you're used to. So just having that conversation with her, yeah, that was nice. And just getting to also know people who have played the game and know the character, and just being happy and reacting to like that interview. Yeah, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
I like the idea that you've highlighted that it's good for people to know what goes on through the development phase of these games, especially those
Yeah,
guys that you enter a game,
mm,
you love the game so much, but then they don't know what happens. There are people who have put in their sweat and hard work into making
yeah,
that game possible, and I
mm,
think especially that particular transcript that you gave
yeah,
really broke that down, and I think a lot of people need to
yeah,
know about that.
yeah, for sure. And also just looking at it from, as I said, like it's very easy to look at it and critique something from a consumer point of view, but if you get the bigger picture, if you just take a step back and look at the bigger picture, gaming is not only the consumer. You've talked about the finance, you've talked about the accounts, you've talked about the development, you've talked about marketing, you've talked about all these departments, you've talked about the legal aspects of it. I talked off camera, I talked about giving an example. If you see a gun sound in a game, most of these games they don't record those gun sounds. Like they don't have that capacity. You don't have like that money to spend to go to a gun show or whatever to hire like soldiers and all these consultants and this. Those sounds are somewhere, and once you get those sounds, it's not just a matter of downloading. Like there is a contract that you sign, and there's the legalities of it all. So by the time you see a game on your screen, just know like a lot has happened for it to be there. And just
which
yeah,
if I can say, not just add on your point, if I
yeah,
can raise an interesting point, maybe that's why very few games have actual gun sounds.
yeah,
They'll have laser sounds, they'll
yeah,
have weird sounds for their
yeah,
guns, but not actual gun sounds
yeah.
because of the cost it
Because of the
takes to
cost.
make a gun sound.
Exactly,
Just that
exactly,
gun, yeah, exactly,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So that's what happens. These are some of the things you discover outside of being with the console or with your mouse and keyboard. And these are some of the things like you get to know. And as I said, it's not just a matter of lifting like a sound from here and just plaster it in my game. No, like there is a lot of legalities involved, and by the time that is happening, like by the time you're putting this sound, yeah, you have gone through some back and forth just to understand, and also to also say this is I'm using this for only this one game. Like you're not just like taking this guy's sound and using it. Like if you're using for multiple games, you need to say that as well. Yeah, so it's that's how gaming works. And if we can only get to realize some of these things, I think it's going to be very easy for people to also appreciate the hard work that devs do. We always talk about the devs are the brain and the gamers are the heart of any game. Yeah, so that quote actually makes sense if you look at it from the perspective of what you've just talked about right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, now that you mentioned it, there's this game dev I usually follow on Instagram. If you can find it, it's called gameplay.254. Have you seen the what's it called? Like the kind of thing that guy is creating. It's mind blowing. It looks like another form. Like I remember, I think if I've seen correctly, it's like he's trying to create another form of GTA, but in I think I've
You
seen
said gameplay dot
dot 254. So
gameplay dot two five.
it's like technically he's trying to create another version of GTA. It's really weird, but it's amazing. Like the moment I saw that, and I remember, I think back in the day, the guy used to pester me a lot because on my YouTube channel, I used to do like first impressions of games that have been developed here locally, even some from abroad. So he used to, like bother me, show me like, hey, look at what I'm doing, look at what I'm working on. That time I'm just passing, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But then when I went to his page just to see what he was working on, hey, this guy has projects for days. This guy has really
amefanya kazi kweli kweli.
Hey, sana. You should have a look at it and just tell me what you think.
I'm just on this. I'm on his Instagram right now, just checking it out. It's very interesting. I'll sit down properly and peruse through it, and see what it means. I mean, see how good it is. Has Lewis dropped off?
I think Lewis has dropped out. Yeah.
Okay.
Just wait for him to come
back. This isn't much though. Yeah, but yes, this is very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm seeing using Unity 3D and Blender. Wow, it's pretty interesting. Yeah. I mean, from that perspective, being in because I'm also in an indie dev game group, seeing the amount of, first of all, let me see, seeing the amount of talent that is there.
Yeah.
For game devs, for people to sit down and say, hii ni kitu tunataka kutengeneza, and this is the steps we're going through. Just pure raw talent and then skill as well. Just sit down and say, here's my product. You're really amazed. You're really amazed. And then the effort they take to like Lewis just said, the effort they take to put their work in there. You see, one of the things I genuinely want to see is an African developed game make it as an esports game.
Facts.
And for James, with that one, you think you'll really appreciate having an African developed game make it as a game that is played competitively all around the world.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that will bring a lot of market, not just market, it will bring a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Traction.
Yes.
Towards the African gaming scene, because most of these games, if you realize, most of these games like in a Riot, like in a League, like in a Tekken and everything else, it's the esports inside it that brings it up. It's the competition aspect, the hype and everything else behind competition that pushes the game up. Now imagine having a game like guys from Akina Steven Kibara, Akina Ray Frank Kibara, Kina Steven, all these guys from different game studios in Kenya, saying, here's a game, here's whatever, let's play competitively. Here's a competitive thing, guys play competitively. Our East African community joins in, the South African community joins in, all these communities join in, then we move together like that. Then people start playing that game competitively. That would be a really good, really good way to gel the community together. in terms of game development and esports, because those two are not they're not necessarily mutually exclusive. They're two branches of the same tree, if I can say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
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 I truly believe so. Truly believe so. I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to that day. I remember I was having the same discussion with this guy from Ghana. If you know him, his name is Kwesi.
I know Kwesi. Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Like
Uh-huh.
when we had gone for another particular meeting, I think when we met there, we were like, James, like I
Kwesi
really
from
want
esports. I mean,
Esports
from
Ghana.
esports Africa, esports Ghana. Oh, not esports
Ghana,
Africa,
yes.
esports Ghana.
So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to the day when I'll see an actual African developed video game as a being used in an esports event. I was like, bro, I want to see that day come as well. And it can't come like at any better time than now.
It can't come any sooner. It
Yeah.
cannot come any sooner, but it will be such an interesting initiative.
Yeah.
Speaking of esports, our people went to participate in the World Esports Championship recently. James, I think you know Mickey. Mickey, was it Mickey
Yes.
went to participate?
Mickey went actually to Romania.
Yes. Oh,
Yep. Oh,
Lewis,
SME,
welcome
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
KPLC,
Yeah, we can see.
guy, mimi nakwambia hawa watu. Mimi hawa watu.
I knew
Mimi
it.
hawa
I
watu.
knew it.
Unajua hata-
I knew
hata
it.
it's-
We had started the conversation talking about KPLC, and now here we are, full circle back. They had to make an appearance. They had to make an
unajua
appearance.
they had to kwa sababu like natumia hata sasa actually natumia bundles because nimeona and the beauty of it nilikuwa nimecharge simu, so I mean nilikuwa nimecharge simu na nilikuwa nimecharge also PC, so it should be good, but yeah, that's poleni.
No worries, no worries.
No worries, no worries. We're just talking about the World Esports Championship and Africa's participation in the World Esports Championship. For me personally, as a person who knows Mickey personally, I love the progress he made in the bracket stages, all the
Yes.
way up. He being top of his bracket is not an easy thing. I mean, he's just going all the way through. And what position did he come out of? I need to know that position he came out of. Why am I forgetting it right now when it's crucial?
Even me, I didn't see the exact number, but I heard it was like top 32.
Top 32 out
Yeah.
of how many participants?
Why?
Out of how many participants?
That was
How many were they? I don't remember.
okay. This is where we need.
But hey, from what I hear,
Blah, blah, blah.
that guy is he's a global player. That guy's a global player. He's like that. That is his league. That's where he should be.
He's standard for Tekken
Nice.
are global. There's one thing I really want to see is having Kenya participate in the Tekken World Tour for 2024.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I want to see that is because we as Kenyans, rather we as players in gamers in Kenya, I feel like it's, especially with the recent World Esports Championship, we need to break out of this shell of thinking we are the ones who are there. We are not there. We need to. It's called, even in business, getting out of your comfort zone, right? And knowing Mickey, and knowing what is achieved so far at I think it was the ISF World Championships, knowing that he went out of his comfort zone to get where he was, that's a huge achievement. And for all the other players were there. If you look at I'm trying to pull up the brackets right now. So top position went to Anakin. Is it Anakin? Let me see. Oh, it's Atif, not Anakin.
Atif, yeah.
Atif, yeah. No, not Atif. For ASF. What position went to Atif, then went to AK, then Sajimatsu, then Mio, then Yagami, all these guys, but I'm looking at the group stages, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at how from Group C we have wow, if I butcher his name, I really apologize, guys. We have Katwari, Katwari DD from Group C from South Africa. I'm just looking at the different groups. We have Exodia from there. But yeah, my point being basically, uh, oh yeah, now Mickey was top of Group I, 5 points, 15 points. I can see him there as well, which was actually wow. That was for me. I was really impressed there. Yeah. So anyway, back to what I was saying before my brain trails off. Um, when I was, because I wasn't really, because I remember during the time for IS, I wanted to watch the ISF matches, and then KPLC happened, and then I was engrossed in watching VCTs because I had a vested interest in VCTs as well. But for me, it's really first of all, we talked about this with James. I do love representation, especially for the country. Be saying we Kenya are going to represent this country here and here and here, but there's something that goes beyond representation. And going back to this, I told James, when our athletes go out there for marathons, when they go there for sprints and everything else, they don't just go there to represent Kenya; they go there to win. And that's a mentality that after watching, or rather after seeing that the Africa has representation in ISF. We do have representation. Representation is we are guaranteed there
Yeah.
to tender ISF with our players there and everything else. Now the mentality from there is I'm going to win.
Yeah.
Now before we reach the stage of ensuring that device-wise and everything nice we're going to win, it comes down to mentality-wise. And I think that's what I like about. I think for me, I can speak about Mickey, and I really can't speak about the other players because I don't know them that well. I think I like about Mickey is his mentality when he plays Tekken. It's a very stoic mentality,
Yes.
if I can say that. He's a very James. You've met him in person. He's a very calm, easygoing person.
He's one
But
of a
in
kind.
game, hapana, he's not the same person. Hizo mkono zingine za watu
Kwani ni Shugze? Kwani ni Shugze 2.0? If you know Shugze,
Wateken sasa.
also ni wa Tekken because Shugze ni wa MK.
Tekken. He's if you meet him in person, he's a cool, easygoing person. It's
Huo
like
ni
it's
Shugze.
like it's
Huo
way
ni
you describe
Shugze.
it. Yeah.
Huo ni Shugze. Huo ni
Magic.
Shugze.
Alafu akishika controller hivi, kucharazo na charazo ni kani mamako.
Unacharazwa hata usema Shugze, huyo ni Shugze. Nitamplug in kwa hili. That's interesting. Huyo ni Shugze 2.0. Yeah.
But one of the things I really like, so one of the things, let me go back and move in the conversation we had about South Africa. One thing I like about South Africa is the way they have created an environment for their players to compete competitively on a global scale, right? They have the Red Bull Committee, they have these other activations with the FGC community, they have these activations with Valorant and everything else. It essentially puts their gamers in a position that they compete competitively. Here in Kenya, we do have different ways for us to engage the international community, but it hasn't essentially dug its roots deep enough for us to say that our players are exposed enough internationally to get the exposure of knowing if I go to ISF, I know the mentality that I'm going there to be. If I go to Saudi Arabia for Afro Arab, I know the mentality that I'm going there with. It's a wonderful experience. I'm not gonna lie, it's an experience that's enlightening. And even if you go to one of the players, one of the football players, her name is Tinto, who she went to participate in Afro Arab. She holds from an esports team called Ehab Gamers. I know the
Director.
the director of Ehab Gamers. Sule, right? You know Sule Matsaman.
Yes.
If you see the way he trains his players, it's both physical and mental, and that helps. That's that's the mentality that, especially when I look at these games. So for esports, for world is when I look at the brackets and I look at the players for world world. Oh my god, I need to get this name right. It's a tongue twister. Uh, World Esports Championship Africa. World
World
Esports
Esports
Championship
Championship,
Africa. When you look at the mentality that you need to go there, yeah. When you look at the mentality that you need to go there, not just in this World Esports Championship Africa, internationally, it's the mentality of you train both physically and mentally for what you're about to do. And Tinto, she was positioned. She was the second runners up at the Afro Arab Esports in eFootball, the women's category, and that's huge because of the number of players that were there, the number of competition she had to face, and it is the training that Solomon put her through at EHAB, both physical and mental, getting her to that position. It was so amazing. Same thing with Mickey. Mickey hits the gym. If you follow Mickey on Instagram, Ako Gym Ako. Same thing with training, Ako training and everything else. So a combination of a
Beast beer.
physical
Beer beast.
resilience, Bas, Pia Beast, Brad the Beast, yeah, gym and same thing. Even with Queen Arrow, gym and also training. So the combined resilience of having a healthy physical body as well as a healthy mind helps you in game.
Yeah.
And also prepares you for the mentality and having a good coach and supporting behind you, letting you know that when hapo
Si holiday.
si holiday
Hii
unaenda
ni biashara.
ni biashara ni business, exactly. And that's the thing
Yeah.
people need to understand. When you go to the country to a competition, si holiday.
See the
Even though you've
kindness,
never traveled
haujafanyiwa
the
kitu
country, si
from the
holiday
kindness
unaenda.
of my heart.
Ni biashara.
So haujafanyiwa kitu from the
Exactly.
kindness of my
You're
heart.
literally
Yeah,
going.
it's serious stuff hapa.
Exactly, Baz. Yeah, exactly. You're really going to serious stuff because that's the mentality that if you look at the VCTs, the VCT tours, all leading up to the championships, the mentality of these players is we are going to work. You're going to do it's like they're going to do a 9 to 5. Only this time it's I dare say much more grueling because you're faced against odds you have no idea how they're gonna come through.
True.
So yeah, but at the end of the day, kudos to all the African players who went to participate there. Kudos to all the African players who were able to go through that process, learn, grow through that process. We'll and next year, we'll see what it brings. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
I think we can now touch on the other ones. Lewis, you talked about game releases, Starfield.
I wish Botni Bazenga angekuwa kwa hii podcast hapa aongea because umse yenye hiyo game ameipenda. Umse ameongelelea hiyo game and well it's well deserved because you know for me what I always say at the end of the day hata tukiona all this console was at least for me I always appreciate a good game that comes out of these next gen consoles. And for Starfield, I know Microsoft for sure has been looking for that knight in shining armor for a good while now. For a good while, considering, and I say this considering
as well.
Considering the game. If you look at the games that have been winning Game of the Year awards for the past, let's say 8 years from 2015, even before 2015 it was more of like the games that are like already crossplay, like games that are like already like on all consoles and on all consoles and of course on PC and maybe on Nintendo. But from 2015 2016 onwards, Sony has taken over that competition. If they don't win Game of the Year, sometimes even the runners up is a Sony exclusive. So I knew for a fact, like Microsoft is working on something, and clearly they have found their diamond in Starfield. The game is really doing great numbers on Steam, also on console. I'm pretty sure it's doing really well, and I also love the concept, like the videos that are shared that I'm seeing. It's clearly a concept that's working for them. Having that, aspect of being able to traverse different planets yeah, I don't think there is. I don't think I've played a game on Sony that does that. And that's again, this is me, but I don't think from all the games I've played, I don't think that I've seen a game that does what Starfield is doing. Maybe there is. I might not know of it, or maybe I've forgotten about it. But looking at how Starfield is moving, this is clearly something that Microsoft was really banking on, because if you look at the games that have been coming out, and they have taken a hard hit this year as well.
Yeah.
You have to talk about Final Fantasy. Even if Final Fantasy is only on the PlayStation 5, we're talking about a game that people had started calling it, this can like get to the game of the year, like it's going to be nominated there. So, and listening to this, and last year, end of last year, that was God of War Ragnarok that was there. So Microsoft will be thinking that's like 2 years in a row. Like people are not mentioning our game in terms of like being, in the nomination. So I know for a fact, they are really banking on Starfield, and clearly it's working out for them. And guys are really excited about it. Yeah. So for me, I haven't yet played the game because I don't have like an Xbox. Maybe to a PS all the way. But I really appreciate what Starfield is doing. It's given people that chance to be able to explore, and it's immersive. At the end of the day, you're looking for a game that's immersive. That's one of the main motivations. If you ever want to go into a game and want to ever like be in that position where you are want to make something for gamers, look for an immersive experience. It's really important. It's really important for people to have that immersive experience where you can just get lost in a world. So yeah, I'm really excited to see, and I know we'll get more videos on the group. So I'm really excited to see also what people will do with the game, because when people now start modding it, especially on PC, yeah, we'll see amazing things from there. Yeah.
Actually,
So one of the
yeah.
things, sorry, James, you're saying, you're saying something, James?
no. I wanted to say, Starfield really reminds me a lot of a game that I had an interest in, actually. Back then, I don't know if you know of Space Engineers.
No. Let me check.
No.
Let me check.
It's a very interesting game, by the way.
Let's look.
Very
Yeah.
interesting game, because
Yeah.
it's like engineers in spacesuits, so their work is just
Yeah.
now to fix the aircrafts that are in space.
Oh, I can see. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, nimeitafuta, yeah.
It's a very
okay, yeah.
interesting game. I remember at some point, that was in 2014 or 15. We actually wanted to, me and a couple of friends, we used to do YouTube back in the day. I wish JUSTANERD Mwatha was here. He was the one who had an interest in such kind of projects. So
Knowing Jan, yes. Something like that.
So what used to happen, I'm sure you guys know of Machinima, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So this friend of ours wanted to create a space engineers based machinima. So like we create content around that game. And I really wanted that thing to work. The only problem is that we were trying it using a pirated game at the time. But it didn't work out. So we ended up giving up on the project. But I was so excited about it. So when I look at Starfield, it just reminds me a lot about it. And then also, I think there's the aspect of now being able to travel in between, I think what it's called planets or universes. There is a game, I don't know if there's a particular game, I don't know if you guys remember it. It was about that thing, traveling between planets. What was the name of that game? It was released just a few years ago. Yeah.
Is it No Man's Sky?
Yeah.
Is it? Yes, No Man's Sky. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I had such high hopes for that game because
let me tell you, that game I can talk about it for days.
And I was even guessing that our conversation was going to head there. When I looked at that game, I think
game I can talk about it.
Prior to it being released, that game was so immersive. So immersive. I used to look at those trailers, I was like, I really want to play this game. But then I think when the launch came about, there were those two hiccups that happened, and then, it backfired. So it was very unfortunate.
So, James, I have news for you. I have
Uh-huh.
news.
Uh-huh.
First of all, let me touch on what Lewis talked about. Interestingly enough, in terms of Game of the Year, there are two companies which contend: From Software
Yeah.
and Sony. From Software with their Dark Souls, like in Elden Ring, like in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and Sony with like in what's this thing called? The Naughty Dog, not Naughty Dogs. What's this thing game called? The one which had so much controversy: Last of Us 2 and God of War. Now, between 2017 all the way to 2020, 2022, 2023, there hasn't been a. I don't think there's been a Bethesda runners up in the Game of the Year, and they've been banking on Starfield. And like you said, that's why they're banking on Starfield, and that's why they're doing it.
kuna mahali
Now,
imepotea hapo, kuna mahali
uh-huh.
imepotea, kuna mahali imepotea, sija kusikia for like the last 10 seconds.
Mhm.
Sija kusikia, if you can repeat.
Oh, so I was saying, Bethesda are
Yeah.
banking, Bethesda and Microsoft are
Yeah.
banking on Starfield to be, if not Game of the Year, runners-up for Game of the Year this year. Because over the past years, they have not been runners-up. It's just been Sony from Software, and then an interesting indie game. Sony from Software, like that. EA even comes in and shows a game. So it's that back and forth, but sort of looking at it as like, and then especially recently with their Fallout issues. I mean, previously with their Fallout issues, and the internal company issues, it's been really interesting. We'll see what Starfield has to offer. Now, James, this is why you need to follow. This is why No Man's Sky is important to follow. The developer, no, the lead for the development team for No Man's Sky. I want to get. He's a guy called Sean Murray, but the game is developed by a company called Hello Games, right? Now, Starfield is unique in that it is, and I put it bluntly, it is Skyrim in space.
What?
Because it's number one of the expanse it has, number two of the modding capability that is there. And even Bethesda came out and said they encourage modders in Starfield.
Oh, that is
So
crazy.
it's encouraging the community to engage with this with the IP brand. And like I said, I can't wait to see what amazing things people come up with in Starfield. The different mods and everything else, especially from a game dev perspective, it will be very interesting to see. Now, No Man's Sky is actually a story of redemption, and it's a story I'll encourage you to look through YouTube and the articles. It's a story of redemption. No Man's Sky, when it released, the Sean Murray overpromised. He was in I think it was CNN or something, being interviewed. It was a huge thing because it was one of the largest, one of the most ambitious projects of gaming ever seen. Having a procedurally generated, not world, but universe that allows you to explore planets intricate. Like ukiona planet, you don't just see the planet. You can land on the planet and explore the planet itself with its own flora and fauna and everything else, its own unique minerals, all that stuff. An overpromised thing. Now, when the game released in 2016, I think the game released in it released in should be 2016 if I'm not wrong. Yes, 9th of August 2016. When the game released, it underdelivered, as most overpromised things do. Bugs, and the most underdelivered thing was the bugs and faultiness and everything else. And everyone saw this thing was about to crash and die. What Hello Games and Sean Murray did, and his team of talented individuals did, is they closed all doors and went to fixing this game.
Wow.
And let me tell you,
Hey.
James, right now, this game is one of the best games out there. No Man's Sky. It is a contender. It has been a contender for best game of the year, but obviously due to things like narrative issues, due to things like it doesn't have it's the voice acting, things like that, it can necessarily come there. But in terms of exploration, in terms of the content they filled, in terms of what they promised people back in 2016, right now in 2023, they've delivered way more. And what's unique about that is every single update they've made on that game is absolutely free.
What?
There's no paid update on that game. Every single there's over 23 updates in that game, 23 content updates. Like ni kama DLC mpya. Over 23
Maongezo DLC, yeah.
DLCs. I think it's 23.
Nice.
And it's free. Hakuna pesa ya kuongeza DLC. It's free. You buy the game once, you get all content for free. Even the purchasing cosmetics, I don't even know how monetization is. I played that game once. I was shook because I played it in 2016 when it came out on a friend's laptop. Na tulichekelea tukasema hii game inaenda kucrash. Tukaacha. Then we picked it back. I picked it. Yeah, well, it's just like it's how Hello Games and even the company measure. Wash our hands, wacha tuingie MK. And then I picked it back up in 2020, just curious to see if this game is there. The updates I saw, I was shocked. I won't go into the details. I want this for you to like for our viewers and everybody else for them to explore and see how far this game has come from. But it was such an amazing story of redemption that when Starfield came out, people were asking, will this be a No Man's Sky killer? Because of how No Man's Sky held the game. So just to build up on what Lewis said, there were 3 games that people were looking at: Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, and No Man's Sky. Those 3 games were being compared to Starfield when coming out. Elite Dangerous is because of the player freedom you have there. Elite Dangerous is completely player controlled. Even the economy itself, any economy is player controlled. That there are ships that are going for millions of dollars. Ship going for millions of dollars in Elite Dangerous because of the economy. Star Citizen because of the graphic quality of it, and No Man's Sky because of the expansiveness and procedurally generated. Hiyo kizungu hiyo yenye
Kunywa coffee.
Itabidi how itabidi, but yeah, due to the procedurally generated nature of it. Now, that's what I'm saying. Starfield is an interesting thing to see because of all those 3 games I've mentioned. Starfield is the only one that's narrative driven. Its focus is the story that you're going to explore. Yes, there are side stories. Yes, there are side quests. The same thing as
any other game.
Skyrim. But the main focus isn't just the main focus isn't just exploring. The main focus is how the story takes you through it. And for me personally, like I said, it's something I want to explore as well. Once I get my hands on it, I want to sit down, dedicate my time with it. Obviously, we might come here and dissect it properly, have a full section for it. But yeah, for James, I'll recommend you go sit down and watch the story of No Man's Sky and the story of Hello Games and Sean Murray. It's such a wonderful and uplifting story in gaming. And even Lewis, especially for game devs, that's a story you guys should share. I'll share with you the video. You'll be able to learn that any game, regardless of how bad it launches, #Cyberpunk 2077, can come to redemption.
Yeah. Cyberpunk is there.
Yeah, so
Cyberpunk is there. Cyberpunk
tunaangalia Cyberpunk hivi. You guys brought us Witcher 3. It was such amazing. Alafu tukaleta nini?
But funny enough, I'm playing the game right now. I've been playing Cyberpunk, and when you only talk up from launch, the way they were initially from launch, and right now what they are doing, lots of improvements imefanyika kwa hiyo game. Of course kuna zile those like they're not game breaking bugs, but you will see like someone will walk through like some shelf or something. It's not something that's game breaking at the game itaquit kabisa. No. But
it is.
Wameimprove sana, and I'm actually like really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with the new expansion DLC of Phantom Liberty, the one with Idris Elba.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think what they are doing, they have one and their celebs, and like because Kai the best game that's as iko na Keanu Reeves, so I think they went for Idris Elba for a reason. I think they really wanted that celeb as well, mtu ambaye like maybe will
star power,
exactly. They're going for that star power, so it made sense for them to go for Idris Elba. I'm a fan of the guy, so it will be quite interesting to see what they want to do with the game. And the beauty of it is they have said they are overhauling almost everything that's in the base game and just bringing in new mechanics, new update mechanics, like okay, upgrade mechanics. Because there's like the normal tree where you like buy your skills, do all these things. They're going to change that. They're going to actually change that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they want to do with the game eventually. Yeah.
Speaking about new games, Baldur's Gate 3, guys.
Of course.
As a person who
Yeah.
that game,
Yeah.
let me tell you, that game I can't comment on it because of its controversy. Let me say that. This is the best thing I can say about this game.
Yeah.
I want to... James knows what I'm talking about. James knows exactly what I am talking about. I would love to talk about Baldur's
Oh,
Gate in terms of how expansive, how the storyline goes. But let me say this: coming from an African home,
Yeah.
raised by African people in the African village, kuna mambo ambayo. But I think Baldur's Gate 3 is a story on not the story in the game, but I think in game development, it's a story of the liberties in gaming. Is obviously the good side and there's the bad side, depending on who you are morally and ethically and religiously. There are some design decisions I don't agree with in Baldur's Gate 3, and there's some design decisions I obviously agree with. I really much enjoy the freedom to customize your character, not to a point. Because in Baldur's Gate 3, you can customize your character completely. Take from that what you will, but you can customize your character completely. And you can do anything to anyone or anything in that game. Take from that what you will, but yes. And what I do take from what I do enjoy from that is it gives you a moral alignment on who you are as a gamer.
Yeah.
Because it gives you the choice of, will you take this course of doing these things, or will you follow a certain path? And I think that's the beauty of a game like Baldur's Gate 3. The game mechanics are very much like if you've played D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, you're very much at home. But if you've never played Dungeons and Dragons, or you've never played a top-down game, look at Baldur's Gate 3, utakuwa confused. What is this everything here? Lastly, it is also a game I call what do I call a liberating game. Liberating doesn't mean that it frees people. What I mean by liberating is that you are. Let me give a simple example. And this, James and Lewis, all of both of you as African people will recognize. Do you remember the first time you no longer felt accountable to your parents?
Wow.
That first
si lazima wajue. Si lazima wajue.
That first
si lazima wajue. Si lazima wajue.
Like, si lazima wajue kenye wamefanya. Si lazima niwaambie kitu.
Si lazima niwaambie.
Remember that liberating moment that thing felt? That's what Baldur's Gate 3 gives to gamers. It is like, before you couldn't do this in games, or you couldn't see this in games. Now you can do and see this. But will you do it and see that? So I'm not here. That's what I'm saying. I can't comment on it per se, because I mean I can't, for example, say it's a good or bad thing. It's more of like it shows you who you are as a gamer, morally and ethically. Yeah.
For sure. I think
James, you've laughed, Sana. What?
Yeah,
let me want to hear James.
I think
and his religious standing. I really want to hear.
James ni mtu wetu akali. Usiwaisikia James utuombea. That's nice.
Kama kuna mtu ningemwambia niombee ni James.
Lazima.
Yeah. But tell us. I want to hear what your
I think from initially I had like an idea of what is to happen, and then of course I used to see it a lot on like articles and whatnot, but then kuna ile ignorance too. Niko like no, it can't be what I think it is.
Yes. Yes.
Well, looks like my conspiracies have been proven wrong.
Hey, pale ni kunoma bana. But funny enough,
If there's a
I've
game,
been looking. Yeah. Funny enough, been looking at the game. I've been looking at that game and naona kwenye interest ya watu inatoka. I think for me, I appreciate like the impact it has, but I 100% know like mimi si target market wa hiyo game. Like even the genre itself. I know by the time that type of game, like si fault over anything clearly ni game watu imeanza pia kumensioniwa kwa game of the year, like whatever. So like naina get like rating 50, 96, 97, like these ni ratings, these are like ratings in a break record. So clearly
Spider-Man ratings.
These are Spider-Man ratings, man. Isn't like God of War ratings hizo. So clearly there is something here that watu wanapenda. For me, I know deep down kabisa, hata nikiweza patiwa like uniambia tishika free code and ukacheze, nitauza hiyo code. I know. That's not see anything to do with the content of the game. It's just that's not my genre at all. Like sifai kuwa nasema hivyo, but like that's my actual feeling. Hata nikiweza patiwa a free code right now, I would gladly sell it. I would gladly give it away even. But I understand like again, and I appreciate clearly what umependa hii game. Like people are playing this game like crazy. Like hii game ilitoka kitambo like 2-3 weeks ago, and in gaming news hiyo ni kitambo. In gaming news that's
in gaming news ni kitambo.
Hiyo ni kitambo, and you can still see the excitement
still
over the
trending,
game still there.
Yeah,
So
it's
still trending. It's still trending. So for now najua kitu sahi na ni game tunajua tutaongelelea. I think for now what's taking attention is MK1. Which I think for me what I love about the game, because at least this one game najua nitacheza guaranteed najua nitacheza.
That one I'm sure. That one with your love for MK, you know.
Hata beta. I was there for the beta. I did the beta test. Because ni game nilikuwa nimepreorder a while back. It's one of those games I know for a fact. Mi naambianga mtu in this world lazima upende like one, hata kama uchezangi game yote lazima upende like at least one fighting game. Lazima ukuwe unacheza game moja ya kupigana as a gamer, hata kama ni kwa
exactly.
Lazima ukuwe na game moja ya kupigana.
One game ya vita.
Vita lazima upende. If it's wrestling, if it's UFC, if it's Tekken, if it's Street Fighter, MK, you need to have one game, and for me it's MK. And looking at what they are doing with the story, it like one of those games, the story, like people will remember it. Like sijaiona game ambayo for at least maybe this is biasness because maybe mimi ni fan wa MK, but what they have done is if hautacheza kama a certain character from like those old MK titles, wame introduce that cameo system where like you can tag them. It's more of a combo extender, ni kukusaidia kuendelea like kubuild combo zako. So for most guys ambao waliweza kucheza MK kitambo, like their characters wako hapo ambao like people like really dig. These are like 2005 2006 characters. So even if hawajawaleta as playable characters, in another aspect wameileta kama cameo characters. So in a chapter 1 for those like old MK players that have been playing MK for the longest time, and 2 also for people who are like joining like new to the game, because the game is simple. Like see combos ati ngumu ati hivyo, although like the characters I've played with, above 5 characters as they give you for the beta test. The characters that I've played with, combo zao si ngumu. Like you can tell, like ukiweza cheza, you can see even as a casual gamer how you can get good at that game. Not necessarily to that competitive like level, because that's different, but any game for everyone. If you love like a good story, you are set for that. If you love
For
like
everyone
casually play,
above a certain age.
of course, for everyone above a certain age, because at the end at the end of it all, it's still an MK game, It's still an MK game.
It's still an MK.
Still an MK. Yeah, it's still an MK
And the
game.
reason
Yeah.
the reason
Yeah.
is this. I don't know if you how much time you have, James.
Yeah.
It's
How
okay.
much
Go
time
ahead.
we have
Go ahead.
left.
Yeah.
The reasons why I bring up that aspect is there's a conversation I had with my friend Sylvia that came from one of the players, one of the players in the US, one of the players of part of FC. Her name is Cuddle Co, and she was talking about how the gore and the and it's a conversation like I'm just throwing out to you guys. I want to hear you guys' opinion, especially James as a person who started off with MK, and Lewis as a person who's active with MK. And James, especially from you in the esports scene, do you believe like the gore and let's say the gore in MK hurts the esports scene because of because of censorship issues and stuff like that?
Okay, from a personal perspective, in esports, there's a yes and a no. I think the yes is on the part that there are
Sponsors,
certain
corporates.
yes. There are certain like corporate bodies who have a tendency to shy away from games that have a lot of go, and I think MK suffers from that repercussion. I think on the no side is that, and I think, Louis, you can prove me wrong. There's a time when, if you compare between MK 9, was it 9? No. MKX and MK11, especially in the competitive scene, there's something that completely shifted because MKX was beloved. That thing brought so many people.
Hadi sahi.
And I kid you not, Baka Saizi, Beast still plays MKX.
Still plays MKX.
Yeah.
Meaning MKX mi sikuwahi
Beast,
cheza.
if you ever have a MK tournament, Beast will always tell you 100%. And for as a person who has hosted MK tournaments, he'll come to your face. Eka MKX I'm out was way. And it's so you don't understand issue until you come and sit down with these guys. What do you realize? So it's because the game MKX was so
beloved.
It was so well done in terms of mechanics and beloved in terms of how the characters and the way they played. Or it was literally about these characters balancing wise, skill wise. They've made them almost perfect. Not perfect, but almost perfect. And that's why it was loved. But Lewis, on your end, what do you think about the Go and sports scene? That correlation.
It's true because I think there was a time I saw a conversation in these many WhatsApp groups that I'm in, Kenyan WhatsApp groups that I'm in. People talking about why there wasn't. I think Tusker had hosted like a FIFA tournament, and like someone had tried to tell them to add other games. Yeah, to add MK. And like na ilikataliwa. I think huo mtu aliikataa. I think the person who was behind it all like knows the game and knows how corporates, I guess, wangea perceive them, going for violent games. And this is not only unique to Kenya. I remember there was also a time guys were talking about the Olympics. Mbona hawaweki this? They are putting like they have like the javelin games.
Story
they
Olympics
have like,
were like, but
you know what happens? Yeah. So what happens is if just ukiweza fanya just a bit of research about why, and I can understand why they are very skeptical in terms of accepting games that have violence. Ni something actually niliwahi hata James about this story. There was a time kulikuwa na a terrorist attack in one of those Olympic events. Was it like in the 80s or 70s? Yeah. And it was such a big deal. It was such a big deal kwa sababu nakumbuka they were targeting those terrorists. They were targeting, I think, a specific country, and
Yes.
you can imagine ni kwa Olympic Village where everyone is there, like hadi kwenye watu wanalala pia umeendea watu huko. So I think for them, I understand, like I'm not saying I agree, but I understand why they might shy away, from endorsing games that, especially vitu ziko na guns na watu kuuliwa, because people actually died. And I understand why they got there. No, coming back to Kenya, story ya kuendorse maybe kitu kama MK ama nini, hiyo game ni violent bana. It's kwangu ni fun, like doing fatalities is fun, but I have seen like watu wamereact. Hey, we ni nini unacheza bana? Unajua nini unacheza nini? Like watu ko
I can only imagine.
And for you, because it's just a game. Unajua si ati utaenda kufanya hivyo after that, but I can understand the implication it has. And for me, of course, naweza penda watu wa realize, of course, this corporate, I can naweza penda, if I were to advise them, I would tell them like, hey, this is just a game. Si tunatoka hapa tukifikiria venye unataka kwenda kuchinja mtu. Like there is no one who is thinking that it's you play a game, talk with the community, talk with guys who play. Inaishia hapo, like na hata mnatoka hapo mkishaisha event, the guys will continue playing that game even after the event. Kaa hii ambao wametoka.
In fact, you make friends.
It's not that violence. That violence, it does not correlate to my real life. Sifikiriangi ati nikitoka ati kunglao amechinja mtu na kofia yake, so hata mimi mwenyewe kutoka hapa nikifikiria kuhusu panga na venye kwenda hiyo, it doesn't happen. It was like hakuna mtu anakuanga akifikiria hivyo. So I again understand pia the fact that tuko Africa na yes, tuna push those boundaries in terms of even having this conversation when tuko now about gaming sahi. A few years back ingekuwa like for most people wangekuwa gaming tu ni kitu tu ya mtu tu hivi mtu hana kazi, but no, like clearly kuna we are making something out of this. Clearly kuna watu wana depend on this right now as their main source of income. So that's where the distinction now lies. If you want to like have that conversation, it's also introduce your aspect here. This is no longer like casual gamers playing. People really believe in this thing that it will bring like food to the table, itafanya wakuwe na homes of their heads, all these things. And if we can package that, if you can actually package that in a professional way, tutakuwa tuko sawa, and that's what we want. That's what we want, and that's what we're striving for. Yeah, so man, hiyo swali ya Wesley nimejibu na so many words, but that's honestly my opinion.
That's the best way.
Even corporates also need sort of a learning experience, to understand, like sort of an educational milestone. Like they need to understand that, hey, this is no longer about msifikiria ati game ati hii ni vita tu tumekuja ati kuna mtu anatoka hapa. No. This is something that's clearly being embraced by the youth, and people clearly wameona hapa wanaweza make something, or they can make something of themselves from this. Si lazima like kila mtu, and Wesley alisema tu vizuri, si lazima sisi wote to get stuck in that nini ya 9 to 5. Not everyone wants to get stuck in that like 9 to 5 loop, and I'm not putting it in a bad way. Kila mtu anatengenezanga pesa venye anatengeneza, but at the end of the day, if people like are finding other ways of supporting themselves, and especially the youth, I think it's important also to embrace that change. And as long as we can have like a plan of action kuonesha watu, hey, this is what we want to proceed with, and if you can support us on this, tuta make sure pia tuko serious. And James, unaweza test hii kitu bana, say you have traveled, man. You have traveled because of esports. I mean,
Before
kitu tu
we
hivi
started the
hivi.
stream,
Yeah, so
before we started the stream, I
that's
remember
how
Lewis saying,
conclude your story.
before
Yeah.
we started the stream, I remember Lewis telling James, umetravel Afrika nzima wewe umetembea Afrika, tumekuona kila pahali. But yeah, if I can jump on this conversation real quick.
Wesley sijui
words.
kama nimemjibu ama ako hapa na mimi
Yuko hapa.
simuoni.
Yeah.
Oh, simuoni
Yeah,
kwa
yeah,
screen
yeah.
yangu, simuoni kwa screen yangu. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's a glitch. I
Yeah.
am still here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think yes. Yeah, I think there's a
Safi.
There must be
glitch
like a
where
bug somewhere.
Oh, okay.
yeah. Lewis, you can hear me now?
Nice.
Okay, cool. So
And finally,
if I
because unaona ka 6:30 kamefika na
Okay.
yeah, it's almost just 5 minutes. Just 5
Yeah.
minutes. I just want to say like just a minute two more. This is the start of something that's going to be so exciting. Tukiendelea to push this content and just talking, like having these conversations. I think it's important that we are having them. It's important that we're having them, and it's good. It's really good that at least tuko na a good starting point where everyone has something to share, and we all love this industry, and the fact that you can get to talk about it in this very very nice setup. Yeah, bana James, asante bana kuni plug in kwa hii kitu bana.
Karibu sana. And many more are coming.
Many more are coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sawa. Wes, to cap.
Yes. So yeah, to cap up, I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Did I forget? No, I was gonna say lastly, in just to wrap up the MK conversation, is that it Lois put it really well. I really don't have much to say. But it is a conversation that is not only ongoing here in Africa, but globally as well, because MK is one of those games, James. It is one of those games that even Western parents have trouble watching their kid play it, even leave alone African parents. So we'll see how it goes from there. Lastly, it's something that I am looking forward to. This Play One Africa is something that I'm looking forward. The conversations it brings, that will bring on, because I'm looking at having guests come on. We have conversations about the things and everything else, and we'll go from there. High hopes, very high hopes, and I will obviously, of course, thank you, James, for inviting me here. Najuanga na kuanga mtu under the scene, na kuanga hapa tu. I am not as bombastic as you, but I am always around. I am always there under the scene, and you know why, James. We've talked about the reasons why I like keeping a low key cover and things like this. But yes. Thanks so much, and we're looking forward to the future.
Karibuni sana, guys. Thank you so much for sparing your time and coming through. We look forward to having these conversations. I'm hoping to do this weekly or maybe bi-monthly. We'll see how things go. But I would love to have this more and more often. And also at the same time, I think for JUSTANERD or Mwatha, who could not make it, I think because of commitments, we are hoping in the next session he can be able to come through so that we can have a collaborative conversation. But otherwise,
this has been really fun. It has been fun.
Thank you so much, guys.
Been fun.
I think, yes, it's okay.
Oh, I was saying it's been fun in Kenya.
Thank you so much, guys. It's fun.
Imekuwa kama
Yes.
sisi kama Wakenya itabidi tumeongea, you know.
I was saying it's been fun in Kenya.
So Sawa, guys. Thank you so much. I think for all those who are watching, until the next one, Agenda being Africa, take care of yourselves. Peace out.
So